On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, Kyle, if I told you after the first month of the season, the Avalanche would have back-to-back shutouts, what would you say to that?
I'd say you're crazy.
I would expect nothing less. But they've done it. Let's talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming out.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. And make sure you're signed up for our subtext. Link to that's in the show notes below. And when you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast. So if you want to get involved in the conversation, sign up for that right now, and we'll get your thoughts on, and we will get the thoughts of the people in subtext for this Flyers game where the Avalanche win it 2-0. And like I said in the opening, like the way things were going for the Avalanche with the goalie position at the beginning of the season, yes, you've had moves that were made. And ever since those moves have been made, you've been feeling very different about the Colorado Avalanche goalie position. And even, with Mackenzie Blackwood, it's not that he took a dip in play or anything like that, but you had that run of games where he was not letting up anything more than 2 goals. And then but I still did just passing the eye test was I still feel like he's playing fine. And then people get hung up on the sub 900 save percentage. How about now? He's got 2 in a row where he's pitching a perfect game. And there's a lot to this game, but this is great. This is so great to know that you have goalie play. It's such a weight off your shoulders.
And the defense is responding to it as well. The defense feels a lot cleaner. It's one of those, we talk about it all the time. When the goalie play is something you can be confident in, the defense is a little bit more confident. You see that in the forward play. The power play has been coming alive as well. You netted another power play goal in both of these shutout games, 19 in the St. Louis game, 24 in this Philly game. You're getting tested. Philly is not, as dominant when it comes to sniper scorers, but they're gritty. No pun intended, but they'll get in there and they'll make things difficult. And by the way, they are hungry for a goal. They haven't scored in 9 periods. So to stand up and calm, collectedly rack up 2 back-to-back shutouts is really nice.
If I'm playing on a John Tortorella team and I haven't scored as a team in 3 games, I might not show up to practice on Monday.
For Miracle, where they're skating the line,
just nonstop runs. Yeah. That's going to be bad. But yeah, I think with Blackwood playing as well as he is, you mentioned the power play, and so things are starting to everything is starting to bubble up to the top, and they're just starting to do things that we know that they can do in different aspects. So the game with St. Louis, you just jumped out to that lead that first period, and that was great. This game was different. There was the opening. I thought the game was bookended with okay periods, and then you had a really good second period. So in the first, not that the Flyers were looking amazing, but they were the better team in the first. And with the Avs, it was halfway through the period before you finally got a shot on goal. But I didn't feel like they were getting so outplayed by Philadelphia that was okay, this is going to be a long night. I was hoping that it was just going to be all right, you just feel them out for some reason, come back, get into the first intermission, come back and whatever adjustments you need to make, step it up in the second. That's exactly what happened. And then you get into the third period where I thought Philly kicked it up a little bit in the third because they had to. They're down. But nothing that was really pressing where I felt in danger. because you felt good about how they were playing defensively. You felt good about how Blackwood was playing. And I thought this was just a very calm, even game for them that if they needed to kick it up another level, they could have done that.
And like when this started right after the trade, Jared Bednar said, like, this is playoff time. Like, you got to handle like it's playoff time. There, you can't excuse losses anymore. And that was his big criticism post game, was that first period. He did not like the effort that he saw. It was reverting back to that casual, blasé Colorado Avalanche that we've seen time and time again. And he said that was the number one thing we addressed in the intermission. They came out, netted the 2 goals. That's all they really needed. But you saw it kind of creep in again towards the end, and that's the focal point now. You got the power play cooking, you got reliable, incredible goaltending. Like, your defense is doing what you're supposed to. The passes are getting there. You're seeing a lot of the synergy. So it's the energy level. Bednar is looking for a 60-minute game. Haven't really seen that yet. St. Louis was 1 period in the end. This was the second period. Now let's take the first period against St. Louis, the second Philly, and then really put it together the third and have a really complete game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think like, he had down on them, I guess, for the first period, which I get. I know. I think he wants them to come out with, just the energy level that you saw in St. Louis. I think we all want that, right? But and maybe comparing to that game, sure, it wasn't anything near that. But I didn't feel like the Avs were, they weren't giving up like gaudy chances or anything like that. They weren't getting them. I think maybe that's more of like where the issue lied was offensively. And if you're, I know that the shot on goal didn't come until about halfway through the period. It doesn't mean you weren't getting shots directed towards the net, because I think the Corsi for that period was even. I think it was 16-16. I did the stat cast. It was either 15-15 or 16-16. So it was even. So you were getting shots directed towards it. You only had 6 shots on goal. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, is like, what are the chances like? Okay, the shots on goal are not what they are, but are you generating chances? And I would be like, it's like a C in that period. It wasn't like you should be really like amping it up. And I'm happy that happened in the first period, because then you can kind of, like Bednar, I'm sure, did, when in the intermission, and guys like, hey, what let's step it up here. And they answered the call for him, which he has thrown that out to them. He has thrown he's laid down a challenge for, this is a 5-game challenge of getting to the 4 Nations tournament. Let me see what you got for these 4 games. And I think that speaks a lot to what the Avalanche might do as a team during this trade deadline, because I'm sure Chris McFarland wants to see what's going on for these next 5 games as well. And you got 2 shutouts.
And going back to you talking about the chances, post game, they talked to Sam Girard, and he talked about his goal. And he said, so many times I get that lane to take a shot and I don't do it. He said, that's something I'm working on. And you see when it pays off. And then he went on to further talk about Nathan MacKinnon, who, when those lanes aren't there, he said he loves to pass and get that assist. He doesn't have that he doesn't want to score that. So seeing them call that out, and this is something they're working on. If you can taking more quality shots, like not panicking in the lane and addressing it with that energy, like this team knows what's up, and they're using this road trip to work on that. So you expect them to use these games as building blocks. But for like Sam Girard, the guy that we like, the scapegoat for many Avalanche fans, he knows what's up, and you see it paying off when he nets a goal.
Yeah, he got the big hat for this game, and well-deserved. But, dude, when that play was materializing and Middlestat threw him the pass right down the center, right in the slot, in my head, immediately I was like, he's passing it. When I realized it was him who received the puck, instantly I'm like, he's passing it. And I was elated that he took a shot, and even more so that it went in the net. So I'm happy to hear him say that because, why pass it up? Like, you got an opportunity right there. Take the shot, take it. And it didn't go wide, which he does all the time. It was a nicely placed shot, and I'm just so happy he just didn't make that extra pass because so many Avalanche players want to do that, to make that extra pass, especially him. And in that situation, I was totally expecting it, and he didn't do it. Good job, Sammy.
Yeah, and that goes back to the effort thing and the thing that we always say with this team, like when they're not able to score, like Sam Girard passing out of situations like that, Nathan MacKinnon passing out of situations like that. It comes to the construction of this roster where it's a blessing and a curse, where you could take it, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, or you could pass it away to another incredibly talented member of this Colorado Avalanche roster that you're like, oh, they'll get it. I don't have it. It's like a 60% chance. Well, I could pass it for an 80. And seeing them turn it and be like, well, let me just take the 60 and we could get another 40% off a rebound, or at least like seeing them make those percentage chance and like have a little bit more hunger. That's what I've been looking for quite some time. And to hear it vocalized from your players and your head coach, it means we're on the right track.
And if there was 0.2 seconds left, he would have had a second goal.
Yeah.
Empty netter, but so what? He would have had a second. That would have been great for him, but oh well. All right. More to get to with this game. Some other guys that I want to bring up. And of course, we have a sound check to get to and our subtext crew as well. Let's hear from FanDuel because Super Bowl 59 is just about here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. And whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action with live betting all game long. You can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. What do you think, man? It's a 1.5 point spread right now in favor of Kansas City.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, you got to. Everybody's so divided in this game.
They got Saquon Barkley this time.
Yeah. So download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59. All right. More to get to with this game between the Avs and the Flyers, which the Avalanche win 2-0. Jonathan Drouin.
Yep.
Definitely want to bring him up. He, with his injuries and stuff like that, he's not getting discussed enough because, and even if he had played every game, you're playing with, two now, it was three of the greatest players in the league. So you're going to get that like second billing. But he needs to be one of those guys. I think a lot of people are turning to like Marty Nishas to be the one to like, hey, you're the one that replaced Mikko. That's who we got back in the trade. So you need to, show what you can do in place of him. And that's totally fine. But as far as guys that are currently that were on the team when Mikko was traded, that say, hey, I need to be the one to step up. He's doing that right now. I really like what Jonathan Drouin is doing. You just feel like maybe whatever that injury was or injuries were, he's getting comfortable playing beyond them, and he's starting to really settle in, and just really starting to play great game after game for him.
Yeah, and with the absence of the player that we won't name anymore, we're just gonna.
I can't do that yet.
96. With the absence of 96,
yeah.
I was anticipating this role to be filled by Arturi Lehkonen, who has to some extent. But in that St. Louis game, Drouin had 3 points. And this was a 2-point night. Like he is notorious for just logging a 2-point night quietly under the radar. Like if you don't circle his name, like you wouldn't know. We're going to be talking about Nathan MacKinnon. We're going to be talking about Blackwood. We're going to be talking about Girard and just where this team's going. But when you look at Drouin's point totals, and he has multiple point nights, like this is what he does. He's a motor, And I've really, when he's on the ice, he is a vital piece of this team.
Huge. Yeah, he's been big. It's one of those. I keep thinking of like Moneyball, like the movie Moneyball. You know what I mean? And when they can't sign Giambi and stuff like that, so they completely shift and they go to, okay, we'll get that production from 2 or 3 guys.
Yep.
I know it's not really. It's a different sport. I'm not trying to make that comparison like in total. I'm just saying, like, it's what you need. You need guys to step up, multiple guys to step up, and you can't have those you can't have those games where like you're invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're gonna have between those 3 guys, between Nashis, between Drouin, and between Lehkonen, I think you feel pretty good about one of those 3 guys having a good game. If one's having an off game, then the other 2 hopefully have a good game, and you're going to miss Mikko no matter what.
Yeah.
You don't want to say his name, but I'll say his name. You're going to miss him. But I think the idea, this is where, the depth stuff comes in. I'm not saying like those guys are depth guys. I'm just saying like you fill out the roster where you get solid production all up and down the lineup, and you don't have to rely so much on the top line. Now, the top line tonight was great.
Mm-hmm.
They're always going to carry you. That's their job. But I think someone like Drouin, who's been here long enough now, I think he'll put it on himself to be like, we got rid of a really good player. I'm gonna put it on me to step up my game a little bit more. And since the trade, he's done it. He's been one of the guys that has.
And you could see on this team, like with the absence of 96 and this pretty much this call of, hey, this is the playoffs. And kind of elbow, wink, wink, the trade deadline's coming up. Like you just saw one player leave that, hey, that was not expected. Everybody was blindsided. And you're looking at everybody else in the locker room. Drouin is stepping up to fill that need. Lehkonen is stepping up to fill that need. Nashis is also doing the same. Yeah. And you're starting to see glimmers from Logan O'Connor again. Like he's starting to show himself a little bit.
Yeah, he played a good game. Yeah.
You're seeing Drouin and Lehkonen step up to that role, and you're seeing the rest of the depth start to, like, Parsonen's a little bit more noticeable now. Kiviranta is starting to be a little bit of a threat. Like, in those moments, you're seeing flashes from everybody else. The ones you don't notice, that silence is deafening in these playoff, like this 5-game playoff moment until the 4 Nations. Like, you want to see everybody stepping up to fill that void of the player who just left. And if you're not, and if everybody's just like business as usual, that's not good. You might see your name on the ticker going out for somebody who will step up in that moment.
You had obviously the Mikko trade. You had another one in the NBA, which I don't even follow. And when I saw that, I was like, I think I had the reaction to everybody else. I like, that can't be real. But
I still don't understand it.
It's another sport, but you've had 2 like high profile trades within like a week of each other. So yeah, I think this puts everybody on notice. Like, hey, you are expendable. If you are not doing your job, we can ship you out. Mikko's a different animal because that's a contract thing. I don't know the whole thing revolving around Luka. The NBA one, if that was a contract thing as well. From what I heard, there was a contract that they thought he was going to sign. So I don't know what happened there.
It's Mikko. It's Mikko in the NBA.
It is. Okay. Okay. So then there you go. So I know those are contract specific trades, but players aren't going to. There's not a guy on the Avalanche right now. Like if you look at someone like Miles Wood, he's got some term left. He's not sitting there saying like, "Oh, I'm okay. They won't get rid of me until my last season." The guy's gotta step up. So I think it not saying like writing's on the wall, but I'm just saying like you can be shipped. Like if it's so like raise the game.
Miles Wood is a name. I know he started out incredible this year. Ross Colton was on that block before the season started.
That's true. Yeah. Well, before I think it was like July 1st. He hit that's when his like limited no trade kicked in. But you're right. Before that,
and he's only added some value to that. Josh Manson, Like defense is not as free as either. Like Josh Manson, Sam Girard, you might be scoring goals, but hey, if somebody else is going to come in here and give you night in, night out effort,
yeah,
you can kick the tires on those. So nobody's safe, even after the Four Nations, because you still have runway until the trade deadline.
Yeah. But just overall, just scoring in the game for the Avs. I mean, obviously it was low, but not so much looking at goals or assists or anything, because not a lot of people had them. You had Drouin with the 2 assists, McKinnon with the power play goal, Casey Middlestat with the 1 assist to Sammy Girard's goal, and Cale Makar had an assist as well. And again, your time on ice, very nicely layered from line to line. You don't have a massive discrepancy or anybody that's only giving you 4 or 5 minutes. Everybody hit double digits. Your top line is in the 20s, and then you go from there. So, and for a close game, and you're only up 2-0. So I think this is another thing that Jared Bednar is wanting to do, and it's working out right now.
And Sam Malinski and Middleton had about the same minutes.
Sam Malinski had a pretty good game. Thought he had a pretty good game. He didn't have any silly turnovers. You had the one really bad turnover from Josh Manson that almost led to a goal, which happened to lead to the Sammy Girard goal. But I thought Malinski played fine.
Yeah.
And that's all I want from him right now. I think he just get that confidence back. Same thing with Casey Middlestat. Just get that confidence back. You're seeing Middlestat getting it back. And I would hope a game like this, you just wanted Malinski just to get through a game, not being a reason anything bad happened.
Not being Sam Girard 3 years ago.
Yeah. Or every game for some Avalanche game, for some Avalanche fans. Yeah. So yeah, I thought overall it was a good game for him. So all right, let's get to our subtext crew and of course our sound check. We'll do that next. All right. If you want to get in on this, like we said in the beginning, join our subtext. You can click the link below. And with these StatCasts that I've been doing lately, those go out early to everybody in subtext before it goes live over on YouTube. So if you want to get in on that, sign up right now. All right, I'm getting to these here. Cody, back-to-back shutouts, back-to-back power play production, and most importantly, back-to-back wins. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like,
2 in a row.
Hey, now. Break up the Avs. It's been too long since one of those has happened. Yeah, he sent a screenshot of the standings, and he's right. He goes, "You think this would have evened out by now?" And he circled the Dallas Stars, who still somehow have 3 games in hand over the Colorado Avalanche. How is
they're going to play during the Four Nations tournament?
That's what I was just going to say. There's nobody going to the Four Nations from the Stars, and they're just going to play games against their AHL team to even out. I don't know. I don't get it.
No country is proud of the Stars.
It's crazy. Adam says, great back-to-back shutouts for Blackwood. Nishis has to hit that empty net. Oh, what was that? Did you hear that thing? The ping is back. It's he has to hit that empty net. Didn't he? I think he had another ping off the net.
That was me.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it sounded
I don't
like
know what that was.
I don't know
what the heck that was. So Nisha says to hit the empty net. He gave up. He passed it up to Kivi Ranta, and that could have been an empty netter. No need for so much unselfishness. Take the shot. His sound check is Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall.
Ooh,
Can't beat that.
I do like that.
You can't. I mean, when your goalie is that, when he's a wall, you can go with that. That's not a bad one. So, what do we got? Avs fan forever. Where does he say? He's got a sound check. Stompin' Tom Connors.
Yeah,
good old. Oh, the good old hockey game. Okay,
yeah.
There we go. Because I didn't get. He had the song afterwards. So there we go.
Hello out there, on the air.
Can't beat that, man. That's a good one. Kay says this one has been much better. Talking about the play. Lisa said Flyers broadcast referenced the Avs and giving up a lot of first period goals. Feels like that's gotten much better with the changes in goal. Either way, looked like Blackwood was the only player who was fully awake for most of that period.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very correct.
Can't argue with that. And I think, that's about it. So,
let's go for 3 in a row.
What's the next game? I know the Oilers. Is it the Flames for the next game or
I think it's Tuesday.
Bring it up here. The Canucks are for it's the Canadian road trip. So the Canucks, and then it's the Flames, and then it's the Oilers. So
Canucks won't be calling us. We don't have any Elias Petterssons on the team.
But man, like I said before, it just seems like the Canucks play them so well. It's one of those like the Arizona Coyotes of yesteryear. They just always played them well. That's the Canucks. So
all the way back to the Matt Calvert years.
Ugh.
That's when it really started ramping up. I just do not like the Canucks.
So I think it's gonna be a difficult game. So all right, let's get to our sound check where Kyle and I each pick a song that summarizes the most recent game. Put these songs up on a playlist over on Spotify, which you can follow along. Just search for LOA Soundcheck Volume number 4 is this one. What do you got for the Avs 2-0 win over the Flyers?
If you would have told me the Avalanche might have fixed their power play, might have fixed their goalie position, Nathan MacKinnon scored a goal, Mackenzie Blackwood would be the incredible, he's putting together quite the resume, I would tell you, Say It Ain't So.
Oh. From
Weezer. That's
the good old Wheeze. All right.
I haven't put a Weezer song in here. And honestly, with everything, and especially when's the last time we got to champion 2 in a row? This is 3 of their last 4, by the way. So, the Avs are doing the right things at the right time. Everything's starting to click. So everybody wants to see what this team will look like in the playoffs. Bednar said this is playoff mode. You're getting a glimpse.
I like it. I like that one. You summarize it all, and I like how you tied it all together with, wow, say it ain't so. Is this really happening for the Avs where they're getting good goalie play? They're getting power play goals. You're rolling all 4 lines. And in a post-Mikko world, I think people were looking for doom and gloom once Mikko was gone, and it's always going to stink that he's not here. But they've been playing well since the trade, and the guys that they got have been playing well since the trade.
Almost kept yourself out of the penalty box in this game against the Flyers. It was deep into the third before you finally got that penalty.
I like it. Good call. I honestly thought we have not yet picked the same song because we don't tell each other what song we're picking until we do it live. I thought there was a chance it could happen for this game because I thought you might focus in on the shutouts. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just focusing in on Mackenzie Blackwood, giving up no goals, giving up 0. And that's what I'm going with. Smashing Pumpkins 0.
Good pull.
Great song. Pull. Nice heavy song from just a phenomenal album from the Pumpkins from back in the day. So gotta go with that. Gotta give the man credit. And he let up 0. Go with 0.
That's a great pull.
It's a good one.
I thought about going down that route. I almost picked a year 0 from Ghost or
year 0 was a good one. Yeah.
Absolute 0 from Stone Sour, but
one of these days we're gonna pick the same one. It would probably have to be me picking a Grateful Dead song.
Exactly. You're going to step into my area.
Exactly. So
Grateful Dead or Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this for 4 years. So
I know. So all right. That'll wrap it up for today, everyone. So thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, where you are 24 hours closer to Sidney Crosby being in an Avalanche sweater.
Is his name Elias Pettersson?
I was going to say it ain't so.